Here's one I wasn't expecting. Captain Thunder. Yeah. I know that looks like Shazam. I know it says Shazam down there. That's Captain Thunder. So, before I even go into this, let's remember the golden rule. I am not an expert. I will never claim to be an expert. Sometimes, in my journey of geekiness, after 41 years, I come across information. And sometimes I see something and go, that's not the way that I know it. And then it either gets explained to me or I see it for myself. This is one of those things that kind of falls into that category. This, if I am remembering this right, after the big lawsuit thing that happened where they didn't want you to be, like, they didn't want him to be Captain Marvel or whatever, and then he kind of went to Shazam. There was kind of like a rebranding there for a little while where they tried some different things. Not an expert, not claiming to be. I'm just kind of telling you how I remember this in my mind anyway. And one of the things they tried was to redesign the character as Captain Thunder. And I believe this has come up. Now, this was pre-Crisis. Captain Thunder is pre-Crisis. So his continuity is deleted in 85, and then, like, I think he makes a reappearance at some point in some multiverse story or something. But as far as I'm remembering here, this is, I think his name is Willie. It might be Fawcett or Fawcett. And what I remember is that this guy shows up and he has a belt buckle and he rubs the belt buckle and then he can become Captain Thunder. Had to change the battery on the camera. But he shows up in Superman, if I'm remembering this right. And he rubs his belt buckle, because he has like this belt buckle, and then he says the word, and I don't think it's Shazam. I think they even changed the word or whatever, and then he becomes this guy, this Captain Thunder. But there's something wrong with him. I think he's trying to stop a bank robbery. And so as Willie Fawcett, he rubs the belt buckle, becomes Captain Thunder, goes to stop the robbers, and then somehow, like, kind of loses it and ends up helping the bank robbers and fighting against Superman. To escape Superman, he changes back into Willie and then meets up with Clark Kent and basically tells Clark Kent, hey, you know, a bunch of stuff about my universe. I'm like a superhero and blah, 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 and this and that and everything else. And then I want to say Superman decides to help the kid. Well, Clark decides to help the kid just in case he's telling the truth or whatever. And then something happens where, like, bad guys show back up, and then I think he rubs the belt buckle. And you find out that, like, this Captain Thunder was fighting in his universe against a group called, like, is it the Monster League or something like that? And then he defeated them. He chased them through the multiverse or something like that and defeated them. But they did something to him, and there's something broken in his powers now. And when he turns into Captain Thunder, he loses control, and there's like a second personality that takes over, and he's a bad guy. And then somehow Superman gets him to, like, revert back to his good self, and then helps him find a way home or something like that. But I wanted this. I wanted this. Shazam. And I missed the opportunity because, as I've said on this channel many times, $20 you spend here is $20 you can't spend here. And because I was spending money over here, this guy passed me up and I never really got a chance at him. And I said to myself, well, he's not one of my all-time favorite characters. I like him, but I'll live. Then I'm at Walmart looking for a DVD. And I walk by, because I've been going all the toy sections and everything, and they are barren. There's no DC Multiverse at any of my Walmarts now. So it surprised me when I was walking in the electronics section, and there were two. Only two. Two boxes. This box and Red Hood. And the animated Red Hood, not the Red Hood that I would want. So I seen him, and I said, oh, you've got to be kidding me. There he is, Shazam. And I go and I pick him up. Yes. Wait, why? That seems familiar to me. And I'm fighting with my head about it. Like, what? What is the star? I know the star. Why do I know that? So I start fighting with myself for a while, and I remember a storyline about when they had to change Captain Marvel's name, but it wasn't Shazam. And I was like, is that it? And so I get on my phone while I'm in the store, and I type in a couple of names. I try like 3 or 4 names before I get it right. I'm like, Shazam, and then I just try to like star symbol, and it doesn't come up, and I'm not finding what I want. And then I'm like, Willie Shazam? No. And then I'm like, Captain Universe. Is Thunder right? And I remember somehow my mind went to Thunder because I was thinking of Thunderbolt the Genie. Like, I don't know why. My brain is wild sometimes. And then I was like, that sounds right. So I type in Captain Thunder. And I get this picture on Images, and I'm like, oh! The variant for Shazam was Captain Thunder? That's wild. Then I sat there for a second and I said, do I want Captain Thunder, or do I hold off and get a Shazam at some point? But then my mind said, Bill, right now, the line is dying, and the stuff that is not available on a shelf or in an actual store that will honor MSRP, it's in the hands of resellers. And resellers are not doing you any favors right now, Bill. So I go to McFarlane and I look, he's sold out. I can't get him. But I have this in my hand right now. So I said, you know what? Say I never get a Shazam. Say I never get the Shazam from this collection. This is almost just as good. It's basically the same figure, but it also has a really cool story. And something about him being kind of offset from the regular continuity also kind of makes him fit with the JSA that I'm building, even though he's not a JSA member by a long shot. But like, one could argue, had Captain Thunder stayed around, different universe, not a Justice League universe, would he fit? I mean, I think he'd look good standing there with the others. So, like, I bought him. Let's open him. There he is. There's Captain Thunder. I know I keep saying that. That's not Shazam. I'm almost 1,000% sure that is not Shazam. That is after they had to change the name. I'm positive that is Captain Thunder. And because of that, let's look at him. So that's Captain Thunder. It's very simple for what it is. He comes with these 2 expression hands or open hands, 2 fists for punching. He comes with this, which I'm going to be honest, I don't know enough about Shazam to really know exactly what this is for. But yeah, he comes with it. Was there a pendant thing? Am I remembering something about a pendant in the original and he needed that in order to transform? I can't remember. But, I mean, I'm not sure what body this is, but I mean, look, if you liked the Superman body, this is perfect. Like, I don't have too much to say, really, because we know what this is. I mean, I like the cuffed boots. Those are solid. I like that face. That's solid. That's really good. That's a very old style, like 1940s kind of face thing. It's very action hero 1940s guy, which works for me. The cape is small. We got all sides here with the wireframe, so you could do all the kinds of poses and things like you want. McFarlane. That's a regular stand. Look, man. I mean, I know that you did comics. I know that. And I know that for what it's worth, you're responsible for kind of changing certain parts of the comic industry and giving us a Spider-Man and whatnot that I very much enjoyed, and kind of moving off onto your own thing and kind of cutting the path, giving us Spawn and things like that. But just in case you are unaware, Shazam, he can fly. And since I know you can do it, flight stands. This disc thing is pointless. Flight stands. Now, because I don't really have to go into too much here, I don't personally think that we have to go over how well a McFarlane figure moves, and I don't see anything wrong with mine. He seems to be fine. I moved the arms. You saw that. I mean, he's you got to pop him out and everything like that. But most McFarlane figures, I don't necessarily ever worry about busting them or anything like that. Like, they're a little resistant at first, but they pick up real fast. They don't give you a whole lot of troubles. They have decent snapping and everything. They go together well. That's one thing you could say about the McFarlane figures. They sit at a very specific price point, but at that price point, I haven't found too many quality control issues where, like, it breaks if I move the leg or anything. I haven't had any fear about moving around a figure from McFarlane yet. But since we have him, let's see what he looks like next to a 1940s Superman, shall we? Not bad. Not bad. Look at those guys. Those are some fancy guys. Those are some fancy hero guys. You know, when you look at guys like this, you think immediately, nobody would ever mess with guys like that. Those are big, bulky, strong, superhero guys. And, you know, then you think to yourself, there's nobody that would be messing with something like that. I mean, nobody would have the hands to just walk up in here and just bow, bow, hands, ah! And that is Captain Thunder. You know, this is what you should do with the Platinums. If you're going to do Platinums, if you're going to do chases, if you're going to do red Platinums or whatever, right? I don't think you should lock those figures and make them the mains. Okay? Shazam is the main figure. Supposed to be a lot more easily accessible. You can get him. If your focus wasn't somewhere else, more than likely the people that wanted him had a fair shot. I was focused somewhere else by the time I got in. I missed my chance. But I did happen to find this one. And what's really cool about it is that had I found Shazam, that would have been cool. Would have been cool. But I wouldn't have been mad if I'd have never found him. This is just cool to have because of the history behind it. It's neat. But I don't think it was a good idea to do like Starfire and lock Blackfire behind the chase. I feel like that's a character if you want to do variant colors, if you want to do variant designs, if you want to do one-offs and whatnot with that, makes a little more sense. I didn't necessarily love this idea because I actually did want it, but you made the chase for the Christopher Reeve Superman 3. That's not terrible. Not everybody wants that, and nobody's necessarily going to cry about not having it except for me. Every now and then, you're going to hit a nerve on somebody that goes, oh crap, that actually would be really cool. I want that one more than I want the other one. I wanted the Christopher Reeve Superman more than I wanted Superman 3, but had I had a chance to get Superman 3, I would have jumped at it. That would have been cool. It wouldn't have bothered me that much to never get him if I'd have got Shazam. But now that I've got him, if I ever get a chance to get Shazam, that would be cool. But I'm not rushing out to get him now, and I do have something historically that's really cool, but I don't think that I have something that most people are going to freak out that they never had a chance to have him, right? That's the way to handle this. That's the best way. But that's about it for me. I don't think that I have anything else to tell you about this guy, or anything else necessarily to talk about when it comes to Shazam or Captain Thunder. I think you have all my information, and there's much more stuff to open, and there's many more topics to talk about, so I'm going to get out of here.
I have spoken. Take what you will from it.